Hi, and welcome back to our podcast, Best Friends and Their Books. I'm Tracy here with my co-host and best friend.
Shelby.
We're so excited to talk to you today about all things bookish, including our book of the month, which is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. So let's jump in.
Alrighty. First, we are going to discuss the books that we've read recently. Um, so if you'd like to start, what have you read?
Yeah, I feel like May was a crazy reading month for me.
Like crazy good?
It was real it was good, and I also read a lot. For some reason I went kind of in like a romance kick. Like I've never been
Mhm.
really like that romance of a girly, and then
Yeah.
I've read Emily Henry before. We've had Happy Story, Happy Place. Happy Place
Happy
last,
Place. Yeah.
yeah, was our book of the month. And I read a couple other of her books, but then I read Funny Story, the new one, and it kind of like I loved it so much. I don't know why. I don't know if I just kind of like need more like lightheartedness right now and not like a lot of like thinking. Like I usually do like thrillers or like whatever. I just didn't really
Hmm.
think that much. So I did Funny Story and I loved it. And so then I was like, I want to finish. The only Emily Henry book besides Funny Story that I haven't read was The People We Meet on Vacation.
Hmm.
Like, let me just round it out. So I read that too in May. And then for our book of the month, it's technically the trilogy, and I hadn't read any Abby Jimenez books. So then I started from one and read to three. So I read Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and then our book of the month, Just for the Summer. So
Nice.
I read those three. And then on top of that, I also read One in a Millennial. I read
I read
Surviving.
that one.
Yeah, I read
Sorry.
Yeah. I read Surviving Playboy and then Darling Girls by Sally Hempworth.
Okay.
And I was in such a good mood. Like I was enjoying everything that I was reading until my most recent read, which was Darling Girls, which I hated
I
that.
saw your rating on that, and I pretty much agree. I think I gave it like 3 stars. Like it just like it's not my favorite.
No, and it was, I mean, I listened to it on Audible, which I typically pick like thrillers on Audible because I like they hold my attention a little bit better. But
Hmm.
there were so many people, like points of views. So it was like the three girls' points
Yeah.
of views, and then it went back and forth in time so much that I'm like, where are we? What's happening? Like it wasn't very like
It was
easy.
choppy.
Yeah, it was choppy. And then I posted on our bookstagram that I kind of wasn't enjoying it, and some people said with the physical book had like a lot of grammatical and like written errors.
It's funny they say that because we got that one as an arc
Oh
through
yeah.
NetGalley. So I read that one a while ago. And a lot of times with like arcs, they do have like grammar problems and stuff like that. Or
Mhm.
I say that as like someone who has only gotten like two or three.
Yeah.
But like the ones that I've gotten, like normally
Yeah.
there's definitely like weird like formatting or grammatical errors and stuff. And that
Mhm.
one I noticed a lot too.
But then it
But
went
it's
on to be book
weird,
of the
but
month.
it's
Yeah, and
yeah, but
they
it's weird that it's
say,
like published now and it's like
yeah,
that.
that's awful.
That's really strange.
I luckily I was listening because if I would have seen that, honestly, that's a big turn off for me in a book. Like if I'm, especially by someone that's like Sally Hempworth, like
Yeah. She
why?
has tons. Like, I read all her books. Like,
Yeah.
she's probably like the author that I have the most of her books on my shelf.
What happened?
I don't know.
That's kind of sad.
For the Just for the Summer, like the trilogy or the Part of Your World trilogy,
Mhm.
did you like I guess this could kind of be like a question for our book discussion questions, but I was gonna ask now since you just said that you read all three of them.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you needed to read book one and two to read three?
I don't feel like it was necessary. Like it wasn't like gonna ruin Just for the Summer if I didn't know the other characters, but it was a really nice build up. Like I
Okay.
really enjoyed it. And it was nice to read Just for the Summer and like know a little bit of the backstory about the characters. And like there was a lot of like, what are they called? Bring like some of the characters were brought over from all three of the books. And so it was kind
Hmm.
of also a nice timeline, like taking you through
Yeah.
everything. Like I really enjoyed that.
Because I read Part of Your World, but I read that when it like came out like 2 years ago. So like I don't remember anything really. Like
Yeah.
could not have told you the names or anything of anyone in the book. I didn't read Yours Truly. And then obviously I read Just for the Summer. Um, and I remember we put up a poll on our Instagram story being like, okay, like, do we need to read the first two books in order to fully understand, like, enjoy Just for the Summer? Because we had chosen this book and then we realized it was the third one. We were like, crap.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say our like poll was like kind of 50-50 for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah.
And I just like feel like you don't need to read the first two.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
I
I like
completely
I don't,
forget the first book. I didn't read the second, and I
yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed this book and do not feel at any point that I needed to
Yeah.
remember. Sure, would it have been like nice, helpful, like and
Yeah.
like just extra information? Yeah, but it didn't like affect the story or like
Yeah.
the
No.
actual reading experience. And I think that's what we were trying to ask. And it
Yeah.
was like so divided, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because so for part of your world, like I did like the first one, but then yours truly was my favorite. So I think that's why I feel strongly like I'm glad I read it because out of the three, I think I liked yours truly the best.
And you got to read another really good book too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then like some of the characters were brought into it.
mhm.
So that was nice. And it oh wait, okay. So I do kind of know without giving too much away why it was important. I kind of just connected the dots because it does. There's a point in it where it connects all the dots and you find out. So in the, can I go into it a little bit? Is that okay?
Yeah.
The first book, the guy like inherits his grandparents' house because his mom is like a deadbeat mom and she leaves him to like grow up with his grandparents and he thinks her only child. And
Hmm.
the whole time he's like fighting with his mom because she's like wanting to sell the house and he's trying to buy it from her. And then you get to the third book and but you don't even know, but the main character thinks she's an only child and they end up being siblings.
Yeah.
So like I loved that
But
connection.
what if
And
you
like knowing
realize that in the beginning of the book? Because like, does
I
it the
did. I
first?
kind of realized that from the beginning. I'm like, oh, she's going to be his sister. And because it's
Okay.
the mom's name, because I remember, because I
Yeah.
read it so quickly too, I picked up on it like Alicia or something. I don't know.
Amber.
Amber, yeah. So I'm like, oh, Amber, his mom was name is Amber. That's the same moment. And then the guy that Amber starts dating is the ex-boyfriend from the first book. So like
Yeah,
I
I know that was brought up in there, and like I like completely forgot that. Like I think there's a question actually that we have for our book discussion questions about like bringing back Neil.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I
like
I get
love
what
that.
I
Like
get what you're saying, but I
yeah,
also think it would have like ruined like part of like the ending of the book because like I was so shocked that like she had this like secret brother because we're sold this story that she's an only child and like but if I
yeah.
knew that
See, I
I
knew it
feel
the
like I
whole time.
almost like knew some of the ending, like the surprise
Yeah.
had been taken out. And I feel like that was like a big like ball drop moment too in the book.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it still because I was like, how's she gonna find out? And like what's gonna happen? And I was
Oh
really
yeah.
excited for her to find out because I knew. And I don't know, it didn't like really ruin it for me. And I loved like that it all connected. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I liked like from the characters from the second book too, how they were like brought in to like help. Like she was like sick or something, and then it was like, oh, Brianna showed up, and like she's
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like it was just I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot. And then like her brother from the second book, Brianna's brother, Benny, was the main character's Justin's best friend.
Best friend. Yeah.
And so that was cool too because he's
Okay.
a big character in the second book.
Yeah.
Dude, I see how it can stand alone and it's fine. But like I feel
Hmm.
like it was such a journey that I was on. Like I was in this whole like universe for a while and it was like really like exciting. I don't know. But I
Yeah,
can
no, that's
like how it would be annoying if I read the first book a year ago, I'm not gonna remember anything. Then I read the second book and I'm not gonna, like if I
yeah.
didn't read it in the like tight time frame that I did, I don't think I would have been as like
The
happy.
dots wouldn't have been connecting like that. Kind of like
Yeah.
how like for me,
Yeah.
like I read the first one 2 years ago. So to me,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm enjoying this book just fine. Like,
Yeah. I can
but I
see
can
it.
see like I can see how it's also like enjoyable to read them back to back to back. But is she gonna have a fourth one and then like
I know. And then I'm gonna have to like rethink about but I don't know, these books even though I read them like a couple weeks ago, I still like thinking about them kind of. They're still like haunting
yeah.
me. It's like I'm still very
Mhm.
like in that universe with them.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long they stick around in my brain.
Yeah. Forever. They say forever. It's just like the only thing you think of.
Like Verity. Verity will always be in my
Oh my
brain
God.
forever.
Yes.
Even Layla. Like I don't
I
like
was just about to say Layla.
people can
That
talk
was a
about
weird one.
Holly and Hoover all they want, but those two brains will stick with me the rest of my life. Like it really will.
That's so funny. So this month I read The Mothers by Britt Bennett. It was really good. She also has another book called The Vanishing Half that I really want to
Oh, I
read.
read that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I just bought it from Pango Books actually. So I am gonna read that one soon too. And then I read One in a Millennial. That one, it took me a while to get through that. That was a journey. I like I I felt it felt so relatable.
Mhm.
The author, like all of her feelings and everything, and like everything she said, I was like, yes, 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 like she
Yeah.
gets it. But like it also felt like it could have been like not a memoir. Like it felt like it could have just been
Mhm.
an article that you share on Facebook. Like it was
Oh
like
no.
it got so long. Like
Oh
like she
man.
would just like go off on like so many tangents and stuff. And like
Yeah.
a lot of stuff I really agreed with, and like she had like so many great points. Like it was
Mhm.
a good book, but like maybe I okay, so I was DMing with someone on Bookstagram that was like, this one is really good as an audiobook. And you also told me too, because I think you read this one as an audiobook. And I
Yeah.
was like, I get that because it would feel like I'm just like listening to a podcast.
Yeah. I
So I
really
read it just like on my Kindle and like I didn't get the same experience. It kind of just felt like I was like, when is this gonna be over? But like
yeah.
it was good. I don't know. It sounds so bad, but it's like it was good. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I was like, when is this gonna be over? Because I feel like she's just like dragging.
Yeah. I wanted to like
I
talk
was in
with
a
you
conundrum.
like more in depth about it because I feel like you're like probably like the only person in my life that shares those same like we grew up together from that age.
Yeah.
Also like
And
that
she
was,
like talked about like her neighborhood friends and stuff. Like
yeah. And I
that
was
was
like
us.
so like good to chat with you about it because I feel like it was like every a lot of things that she brought up, I was like, you were like the first thing in my mind about.
Hmm.
But I do like too, she
Oh.
kind of like connected the dots in a lot of ways for me too, where she'd like bring
Yes.
something up and then it would connect to like a bigger problem like later in her life. And like the connecting of dots are that I had the same experience, but I hadn't connected the dots in my own head like that, the way she did.
Yeah.
And so I
No,
was
that's
like,
like the best way to put it. Like she
yeah,
connected my thoughts for me.
yeah. And I really,
I think I ended up highlighting like a lot in that book on my Kindle.
I think I
'Cause like
did.
I like just like what she was saying and I was like, "Yes, girl, yes."
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot to that, I think.
Yeah. It's like I didn't rate that one just because like I don't know, I had such like a weird flippy floppy.
Yeah.
And then lastly I read Just for the Summer. I this is the first time I picked up a physical book since last April. I've read everything like on Kindle since then, which is kind of crazy to like go back to reading like print, just like a print book. But it ended up being good.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised because I was like, oh my God, the font's so tiny. Like I'm like a size like 9 or 10 like Kindle reader. Like we got the
Yeah.
big font going on, and I was like, oh my God, like
And then having to like hold a
a
physical book sometimes
spectacle.
is like not my vibe.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I just want to like
Yes.
even having the Oasis with the buttons, I can't see myself going back because I'm like it's just so easy to just like and like the lighting, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like Kindles are like so convenient.
I know. So I read most of the time like when I'm like with my baby and like putting her to sleep and stuff. And like I can't do that with if it's like dark in the room, I can't read a physical book. Like I can only read off my Kindle.
Yeah.
And like the swishing of the pages, I'm like, well, my arms are like
Yeah.
taken. Like so I just like have like my thumb like ready to go.
That's like
It's like the Kindle is like so convenient. So I could only read this book like when I was like not taking care of her
yeah.
pretty much or like not trying to get her to sleep.
And the Kindle just like I have it in my purse like all the time. So it's like so easy to like
hmm,
whip it out in public whenever I'm waiting for anything. Like I always just have it there. But that's why I feel like I always have a book going on my Kindle and I always have a physical book. So I'm like reading like two at the same time.
yeah.
But I have to pick like different books so I don't get like confused. But
Like very different, like a memoir versus like a thriller.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I also just discovered Libby for the first time. And I'm like I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I read The Mothers on Libby and it was available right away. So it was like the perfect like reading experience. I didn't have to pay for a thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna read One in a Millennial on Libby, but it had a hold. That's the problem with Libby is like the holds. And like if you don't have patience, then it's like not gonna work out for you.
I'm the
But
least
it's like
patient person on the planet probably. So
yeah.
I like Kindle Unlimited because like but it's like hit or miss what you can find on Kindle Unlimited. But
Yeah.
I have tried Libby a few times, even with audiobooks, but I get so impatient. So
Yeah.
it's a
That was
mood
like
reader, like too. Like I'm a mood reader. So like I
mhm,
want to read it, like I want to read it like right
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I requested or I put on hold Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. It's what I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
And I it became available to me like right as I was starting Just for the Summer. And you only, at least my library only lets you hold or lets you have the book available for 21 days, which is
Okay.
like a long enough time.
Yeah.
Like,
But not
but
if
I
you're
had just started a different book and like I obviously had a deadline for Just for the Summer because
yeah.
podcast. So I don't have very much time now to read. ghosts, but I'm trying to like get through it so I don't like because it's gonna suck if I only get through like half of it or like 70% or something and then I have to return it.
I would like lose my mind.
I know.
Oh no. Okay, well,
But
you got it. You can read it.
yeah. Um, and then what else did we want to talk about? Oh, we want to talk about the books that we've added to our TBR recently. I think this is like a good idea or a good way to get like ideas of what to read. Like I'm always like looking at my Goodreads feed and like seeing what people add to their lists and stuff. And that's a lot of how I find books too. So what have you added recently?
Um, I'm a book by the cover girly. So a cover that's really intrigued me was Home is Where the Bodies Are, because it's like the VHS looking
Mm-hmm.
book. So I really want to read that one. And
I have
then
not seen that one yet.
oh man, I think I suggested it as one of our book of the months coming up because I'm so intrigued. It's like such a cool looking book. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think I don't know if it recently came out. I saw a lot of people getting a advanced reader copy, and so that's why I saw it at first. And then but also I want to read Modern Friendships. It's like a memoir-y like book.
Kind of similar to maybe One in a Millennial.
I think it's more like adult friendships.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I've seen it quite a bit too, and I saw the author a bit going around when she like first the book was coming out, and I don't know. It just
That
like
sounds really interesting.
I read the synopsis in it too, and it was like, oh, I need this because I think friendships are hard as an adult. So I was like, this is
Yeah.
a good one. And then my mom just bought this at Barnes and Noble yesterday, and I want to read after her. She got Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter.
Oh, okay. I think that one's been around for a while, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so. I thought I had it on my TBR already, but then I realized I didn't, and I had just added it because I'm intrigued. My mom
Yeah,
says
this
she really likes Karen Slaughter, so
Oh, she does? Okay.
yeah. So
I recently added Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown, which is our bachelorette
oh, I forgot that she was making
queenie.
that book.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it just released actually in May, and like I saw it and I was like, oh, I think I need to read that soon. The cover is like very similar to Just for the Summer, like the colors and everything.
Oh, yeah, I think I did see it. I
Um,
forgot that she was reading just for the summer.
yeah, I think I do want to read that. I added funny story because like you could literally not go like 5 posts on Bookstagram without seeing an Emily Henry slash funny story post. So I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I just need to add this to my TBR.
Yeah. It was my favorites thus far.
Really?
I love People We Met on Vacation too. Those are my top two, but they're
Yeah.
good.
It was funny. Do you ever like to look at like 1 star ratings of like some of your favorite
Yeah.
stuff? Okay,
Mhm.
so someone posted like one of the people we follow on Bookstagram did like a 1 star like rating, but it was like hilarious of funny story. It's funny because I I've only seen 5 stars for this book. Like I was just like, add it to TBR,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
But it was like the funniest review. I'll have to go back and send it to you. It was really funny.
Oh no.
It wasn't like it like was not like tearing apart the book. Like I don't like 1 star reviews like that. It was just like it, it was kind of goofy, like 1 star
Yeah.
review. Um, I also added Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. It's not coming out for like a while. Like I think it comes out in 2025.
Yeah.
But I always see her books. Like she's a very popular like thriller
Yeah. I read
author. I don't think I've read any of her books, but like I think she has like that rock paper scissors or whatever. I don't know. There's a few of them that I always see floating around, and I saw this one coming out in a few months or next year or something, and I was like, I thought it sounded good.
that's another one
I
Lucinda likes. She always talks about it. My mom's like one of her favorite
Oh
authors.
really? Okay, well I'll have to read it then. And then I also added that Only Say Good Things book that you read,
Oh yeah.
um, by Crystal
Oh my
Hefner.
gosh.
I
Okay.
really want to read that.
Yes, you should. I knew nothing about Playboy, right? Like
Yeah.
I just feel like people had the stickers for some reason weird.
Yeah.
Not like in spray tanned on or tanned
I
on.
think I've watched like a few reality shows or whatever. Like
I like
I've
kind
had
of
them.
remember like that being a reality show, but I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Hmm.
Like I would never have let me watch that. So I just like knew nothing about Playboy. And then I'm like, then I think about it. I had no idea that Playboy, like they did what they did. The book goes into what they do. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I thought it was like
Yeah, I don't know that part.
it like alludes to it. Like obviously the brand like alludes to that, but I never thought that it was like real. Oh my gosh, I was like literally so mind blown. I read it in like one day because I like had to know. And then I also
Yeah.
because it tells her whole life story, because no offense, but like I kind of want to know like what gets a girl to that point where you're like sleeping with the 80-year-old man? Like
Hmm.
Like, what happened in your life, girl? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just so crazy to me. So that was like one of the most interesting books I think I've ever read, and I'm like a changed person. Like I know,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know things now.
I don't know.
I love a good memoir that has like crazy background and stuff. Like, so I'm sold. Like all you had to tell me was like it was a memoir and it was crazy and weird. And I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
reading that.
it was. I'd like have to talk to you about that because it's
Yeah.
so insane. I was telling my mom's like, what? Like my mom's mind was like blown. Like she was like, and she's like more into like the like my mom's older, so like the Playboy was more like of a thing, I feel like in like the 70s and like
Yeah.
80s kind of thing. So I thought she would
Mhm.
have like would have known more about it. But she was
Yeah.
mind blown.
That's wild.
Wild. It's just so wild. Oh man.
Yeah. That's what I've added recently. So without further ado, did you
Yeah.
want to go ahead and read us the synopsis for Just for the Summer?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the synopsis out of the book. So it's four dates, a kiss, and a breakup. That's all it takes to find their soulmate. When it comes to love, Emma is cursed. Every guy she's dated finds his true love after they break up, but it turns out she's not the only one afflicted with this condition. His name is Justin, and his Reddit thread is about being love's good luck charm that has gone viral. Now the two have come up with an ingenious plan. If they date each other, their curses will be canceled out and they'll go on to find their soulmates. Only Justin wasn't supposed to be so unbelievably cute and hilarious. But when Emma's toxic mother shows up and Justin has to assume guardianship of his three siblings, they're suddenly navigating a lot more than they had expected, and including catching real feelings. Has fate finally brought the perfect pair together, or will their cure be way more hazardous than the cure itself?
Cute.
I really, yeah, I think it's like that's a good.
Yeah.
It's like short too. Like I don't know. Usually, like a synopsis like takes
We're
like
like
this.
running out of breath by like the end of it.
Yeah, like that was just like it got straight to the point, and I really like appreciate that.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, when you were reading that, I thought of like a question that I didn't put on the discussion questions.
Yeah.
Do you ever read the Am I the Asshole Reddit like threads?
No, I don't like really utilize Reddit, but I've heard like I see like clips of it on like TikTok,
Yeah.
a girl reading it or something.
Oh yeah, I think like Two Hot Takes or something
Yeah, something like
is
that.
like one of the it's like the podcast that like reads stuff
Or
like
I've heard it
that.
like on the radio too. Like that's like a popular segment like on the radio.
Yeah, I freaking love those threads. Like I don't know what it is, like they just like draw me in so hard. Like
Yeah. No, it's I think it's a
they're just
really
so crazy. Like cuz you read like the title and you're like, "Yeah, you are." And then you read it
uh
and you're like, "Oh man, maybe you're not the asshole."
so for Justin's like am I the asshole like such situation,
Mm.
like his roommates, they were roommates and then like his roommate went on to find his soulmate and then Justin had to like move out and the only apartment available was like a little tiny studio with like a big huge like
The
toilet guy,
billboard, yeah.
yeah, billboard right outside the window. And so then he like got this like he went to the shelter and got like the ugliest dog and then named it after his best friend. Do you think that he's the asshole in the
Oh, but
situation?
don't forget that like his friend like started dating his
Oh yeah,
ex-girlfriend
yeah,
too.
and then it was
Like
the
there's
girl
that.
was also yeah his ex
And they're
girl.
like in love, love.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't think he's the asshole. I think it's funny.
I like was kind of shocked too that he was just okay with his best friend dating his girlfriend.
Yeah, me too. And
But
I
they
think that's why it's fine that he named his ugliest dog after his best friend. Like, it's not like that. To me, it's like not that serious. Like,
yeah,
it's just funny.
yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't care if my the name wasn't the name his name Bruce.
The dog?
Was his name Bruce?
Oh my God, I don't remember.
I'd like to know something you remember, so maybe that's not the case. Oh no.
Like flipping like real quick just to see if I see a name.
Chad. No, it was Chad.
Chad and Brad.
Chad and Brad. Yeah.
It was Chad on
Oh,
the
it was
Reddit, and then it was Brad in real life because he changed the name,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
right?
I don't know why I was like
I thought that was funny, but I feel like that's definitely more of like a guy joke, like
yeah.
type of thing. Because to be honest, well, I don't know. I wouldn't sit there and date one of your exes, but
I know. I feel like that's a dude thing to do too. Like,
yeah,
and I feel
like
like if
oh,
a
you're gonna
girl
date
did
my
that
ex,
too,
so
yeah, I'd be like, we're not friends anymore.
yeah, like that would just be the kind of the end of it.
Yeah. So
And
no.
then if they named their dog after me, then they'd be the asshole. 'Cause they'd be like, well, I'm mad at you.
But then I wouldn't want to name my dog after someone that took my. Then I have to hear that name all the time too. I'd be like, ugh, I just don't want to like, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Starting out with the real questions. Um, would dating be better with star ratings and reviews from exes? What about pre-date surveys and exit interviews?
I like loved this component,
Me too.
but I could see like I do that all day at work. So I kind of would be annoyed at an extent, like starting to get more annoyed because I'm like, this is you know what I'm saying? Like I do this,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to do this like every component of my life. Like it was cute for
Yeah.
story, but I think for me personally, I'd be like,
I thought it was so cute. Like the first date, he had like all these like different options. Like I feel like I would love that. I was like, I want to do that now.
yeah. I feel like I'd want someone to do it for me, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like if I had to return the favor, I would not be like as in excited
Oh,
about
I
it.
was like, I want to do this like for Josh.
Oh.
To make him like a little like survey or something. I think that'd be really cool.
Oh.
But honestly, like the star ratings and the reviews from exes though, like I don't that could be hit or miss. Like I don't think anyone would say like anything particularly bad about me, but also like someone's like ick or like bad thing about you might be like the person that like you start dating, like they love that about you. So it
Mm.
might not always be like,
Do you remember that app that was like an app, a website or an app when we were like in this is so crazy. I don't know why this like unlocked a memory for me because I remember looking up my now husband on this like website and it was anonymous and you went on and like rated guys.
no, I don't remember
Oh my
this.
gosh, this like used to be an app. I'm like not crazy. I literally still have a screenshot on my phone of when I took a screenshot of Justin's profile because I was like all but hurt because I was like dating him. And this girl went on and rated him and it was like in the friend zone. Like it was like pros and cons. And then like her con was like stuck in the friend zone or something on Justin's, but it was like anonymous. I'm like, who is this girl?
Oh
Because
my God.
we're dating. But you can go on and you can rate like face, 5 stars, like body, personality, like humor. Like it was like you rated people
Mhm.
and then it was a website in like circa 2011, 2012.
That's really crazy.
Oh, but it's crazy. I'm gonna have to like find it and send it to you.
One of like the dating apps should add that on to their thing. Like after you like go on a date, like you know how like when you get like food delivered to your house and they're like, "How is your driver? How is your food?" Like and you have to give it stars. They should do that on dating apps.
We should for sure. This was like
But
circa the like anonymous forum website too. Like we were in a time in that those like few years we had like random websites that were like anonymous, like
yeah, I think I know what.
and girls were like writing mean things to each other, but it was like
Mhm.
anonymous.
Yeah, I kind of remember stuff like that.
Yeah, weird
That's
time.
really funny. Um, what billboard or advertisement from your hometown would you least want to stare at outside your apartment window all day, every day? And alternatively, what would you most want if you had to have like if there had to be a billboard outside of your apartment window?
It's so funny. I actually used to like design billboards and I designed one with Oliver's face on it when he was a baby. And it was on I-35 in Texas. Like there was like 4 or 5 of them like all over his face. And then I
Oh.
like, tried to contact the billboard company when they pulled the billboard down and see if I could keep the vinyl. But I think that it kind of got destroyed when they were ripping them down. But it was like would literally have been like a 20-foot tall, like huge one, just my baby's face.
That's
Um,
funny.
but I wanted to save. I saw pictures of like all the billboards he was on, but I'd say yeah, that would be the billboard that I'd want to see outside my window. But I think that I don't know. I've stayed in downtown Los Angeles where there was like a billboard like right outside, and there was one that was like a horror movie, and it was awful. Like it was like a
Hmm.
gross advertisement right outside my
Oh
uh
wow.
that kind of sucked.
I feel like one I would least want is anything like with like a pest or a rodent on it. Like, you know, like the ones like the big cockroaches.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think I could handle that. Or like if it was a snake, I wouldn't live there. I would have to like, even if it was like my cheapest, best option, I'd be like, I can't. I'm
Yeah.
like terrified of snakes, so I can't do this. And then what would I most want if I had to have a billboard like outside of my apartment window? I feel like food or something like that. Like a
No,
Chipotle
I'm
bowl.
hungry all the
Like a
time.
Chipotle bowl would be so good. Or like an art like a like you know how like singers and like
Oh
stuff like
yeah.
that will have like billboards. Like that would be kind of cool because then I'd be like, oh yeah, let me remember to turn on my music or whatever while I'm around the house. I
Yeah.
feel like but I
It's
feel like a big Chipotle bowl would be like really cool.
another time I stayed in Los Angeles, the Vanderpump cast billboard was outside my window. And I didn't watch
Oh,
Vanderpump and I was like, who
that's
are these people
funny.
looking at me? Like, and I distinctly remember because their heads like popped off the top of like it was the billboard and they like kind of like popped off. I like
Yeah,
that a lot.
that's funny. Emma describes her coping mechanism of not letting anyone on her quote island except Maddie and her mom. What do you think is the impact of her narrowing her circle to two people who pull her in opposite directions?
I think that she just like can't like handle like someone leaving, or like she like can't, and her mom's already done it, so she's already like has that relationship there, so she's handled it before she can do it again. And I think she knows like Maddie is the only person that won't, so she's like not going to open
Mhm.
up until anyone like can hurt her or like abandon her kind of situation.
Yeah. I think also as like she's kind of a people pleaser and she has two people who are like starkly different. So she will always be pleasing one of them. Like she'll never have like no one on
Yeah.
her island. Like if she goes against what Maddie basically says, but she's pleasing her mom, like she has her mom, and that's like that feels like safe to her. But if she's like going against her mom, she has Maddie and she knows that's safe. So she's never really like um just like solo, like
Yeah.
not people pleasing at one point. Like she's like always people pleasing.
Yeah.
Compare the two islands in this book, the one where Emma is renting a home and the one in her heart and soul. Discuss Justin's efforts to reach each island.
Yeah, I think it was pretty crazy too that like, they picked like an island to live on.
I know. I was like, the logistics of this are going to be terrible.
I know, like I'm like, this is kind of weird. You're not gonna be there that long either. And you're like, it's not like you're just going on vacation where you just stay on the island all week. Like you're working there too. So it's like I'm like, why would you pick that?
Yeah.
But I
They
do
didn't
think
have any like groceries or anything on the island or anything like that, too.
just their house. Like that's so isolating. That's scary for like two women, I think, to
Hmm.
self. But it yeah, it was like a reflection of like the island that is her, like her life. She's basically just on her own little island. And
Yeah.
for Justin. Like, but then like when he took the little paddle and like paddled all the way out, like on a floaty
I
to like
know.
get to her, it was so metaphoric of like him trying to like get to her in real life. And it was like he was gonna do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
Like he worked really hard to get onto her like her metaphorical island.
Yeah.
I feel like he wasn't really taking no for an answer
Yeah.
for the most part
I mean,
to
it's
me.
kind of like a weird thing. Like, but
Hmm.
then it could like not taking no for an answer is kind of like a weird thing. But he did it in like a cute way.
I guess maybe it wasn't taking no for an answer. It was more like he's putting all his feelings out there because he's like not going to sit back and not let his feelings known.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to wish that he had said something. That's, I guess, more so what I mean.
Yeah. Because she didn't really give him a hard no. Like they both knew there was feelings there. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, he wasn't gonna like play her game.
Hmm. No, he was definitely very cute about it. Like I wasn't trying to make him sound like he
No.
was like
No.
only
So,
taking like yes for an answer.
yeah.
Sorry. Early on, Justin gives Emma a video tour of one of his favorite parts of Minneapolis. If you were to give someone a video tour of your hometown, what would you most want to show them? And you can do, it doesn't have to be like your hometown. You can do any of the places you've lived or all of them. I don't care.
I know Colorado, like I'll just do like where I live now. Yeah, I think I kind of like the mountains are like the showstopper here and like Garden of the Gods and stuff. But like he was like, I don't know, like what he was describing is like sounded cute and stuff, but like I was like, this kind of basic. No offense. But I was like, he made it like cute.
Yeah. Actually, the book kind of made me want to visit Minneapolis,
Really?
oddly. Like I was like, it sounds so cute.
Man, maybe I'm like in the wrong headspace. I was like, that's boring. I don't know, like I wasn't into it.
So funny.
Like a bridge. Okay.
I
I don't know. I just like wasn't like
I need to Google this bridge to make
yeah.
sure it's like show stopping.
Yeah.
I would show, so I live like in a suburb outside of Baltimore, like kind of close to like Ellicott City. So I mean, I've taken you there before. I'd probably like take you down to like old Ellicott City, like
Yeah.
and show you that because I think it's a really cute street with like a bunch of shops and restaurants. Like I feel like that's like my version of like his
Yeah.
um little tour. For what would you do for like Calvert County?
Oh God. I know. I was thinking I can't answer that because I don't, it's hard too because I've been gone. I feel like for so long too. I don't know much. I guess
I'm taking you to the water park.
it's closed.
I heard, but I'm still taking you
All
to the
right.
water park.
I know. I think I
Because
guess
we spent like every waking hour of like our
of our
middle
lives.
school lives, and then when we actually worked there, like that's where
Yeah.
I'm taking you.
Yeah. I'll take you to Mama Lucia's and Lido's. That's
Oh
like
my
all
God.
I
And
just
Litos.
Athlete is my favorite thing in the world.
That's so funny. Okay, quote, public proposals are hostage situations, end quote. Emma is very against the idea of a public proposal. Did you laugh along with this quip and agree with her, or do you love the idea of a public proposal? And she's talking about the proposals that happened on that bridge in Minneapolis and like that whole storyline.
I think this is my personal opinion. I think public proposals are kind of cringy. Like they always make, especially I've seen them in real life. And like, as like a bystander of not knowing these people, like I feel like awkward because I'm like, I don't want to be a part of your, like they're just like there, like
Yeah.
in public space. Like, whoa.
Like, should I take a picture for you?
I know,
Like,
it's like so awkward. I've seen people get like engaged to like on the Riverwalk in San Antonio, and then I saw another one somewhere else, I can't remember, but I just as a bystander I felt so awkward. And then thinking back to my own proposal, like my husband was so nervous and it was just me and him.
oh,
Like I came home from a long trip, and he had like it was Christmas time. He had decorated our whole house in Christmas lights, and like had like lights like leading up to like the Christmas tree, and then on the Christmas tree like it had an ornament that said like our first like married Christmas. And then like just like turned around and he was like proposing with the ring, and like he was like you knew I was gonna say yes, but yeah, he was still like so nervous, and I can't even remember what he said. I couldn't stop like that was my I was so anxious that he was nervous. I just kept asking if he was okay, and I was laughing. Like it was like such like a weird. It was just us two, so it's like so
yeah.
I couldn't imagine like sharing that. Like if we were that nervous with each other, what would we have acted like in public? Like
Oh,
like it was just
it
like
probably just wouldn't have happened in public.
I know, like it would have been so awkward. So I do feel like they are kind of hostage because even though I would want to say yes, like you're just trapping me in this like
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah, I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum.
Yeah.
But I personally would not prefer a public proposal. And I understand what she's saying, how it's a hostage situation, because it's like, what if you say no? And like then it's like so embarrassing in front of everyone.
Yeah. Or what if like I
And
would have organically said yes in like a different way, but then like you're trapping me in public and then I'm like, like
you have to perform. You now have to
yeah.
perform for all the people that are standing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do not love the idea of a public proposal.
No.
And I've worked at like restaurants and stuff where they happen to, and it's like, I'm not gonna lie, it's so stressful for the people that are like trying to make this work
Yeah.
for you because everyone knows it's an important moment in your life.
Yeah.
And like, how awful would it be if like the waiter fucked it up or
Yeah.
messed it up, you know? Like,
We've done that. Yeah, we did that where like the ring had to be in a certain place, and then everyone in the whole
mhm.
restaurant knows it's happening. So we're like eyes on the table without having eyes on the table. And it was just like it was,
And
yeah.
like the timing, you had to get like the timing right because the guest wants like the timing to be like at this certain time, like
Yeah.
when she's doing this or when she's in the bathroom when she comes back. So I'm supposed to be like eyeballing your table, waiting for her to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, I have other tables, sir. It's like-
A lot. It's a lot of stress.
Okay, next question. Emma is elated when she learns that her mom found Stuffy. Explain why you think it is so important to her. Do you feel similar connection to any of your childhood possessions?
Um, as I'm speaking, I literally have my childhood stuffy that I had forever up there. He sits on my shelf. His name is Tracker. But I think that because Alicia, what was her name? Alicia? Why do I always want to call her
Amber?
Amber? I don't know why I want to call her Alicia. Amber took everything from Emma. So I feel like it was like just like another thing that she like took away from her childhood because she like ruined it in
Mhm.
so many ways. And I think that that's like was her attachment because that was like the only thing tangible that she feel like had comfort in.
Yeah. I I agree. I think it was like the only thing that she really like it didn't seem like she got gifts or like she was really like taken care of and had like anything as a child. So like the one thing that she had, she like held on to. I like don't really have very many of my childhood possessions. Like just over the years, I guess I've just like gotten rid of stuff.
Yeah.
But like pictures and like photographs,
Mhm.
like I stockpile. Like I like have like all the albums and stuff like from like my families and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like photos are like my like connection to like my childhood is like you can take away like all my like things, but
Mhm.
the pictures are like what my favorite thing is.
Yeah. I have my whole bookshelf. I have all my mom kept everything. So like this whole bookshelf is all my childhood books. My kids have all my books. My kids have every single Beanie Baby I've ever owned.
Oh my gosh.
Like I have all my stuffed animals from my kid, all my Beanie
Oh,
Baby. my
I do have
American,
my American Girl dolls.
yeah. And then I have like my hit clips. Do you remember them?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Lucy plays with my hit clip all the time. They play with my like Bop It. Like, I
That's
don't know, I feel
funny.
like my mom just like kept like a lot of my stuff. And even like my furniture, like this was my bed from like
Yeah.
kid. Like, I don't know, like I kind of just like re-inherited it. And like I'm really appreciative now that my kids like have my stuff.
Have your stuff.
But I
Yeah.
won't let them touch Tracker. Tracker is my I actually they tried so hard to take Tracker for so long. He's like loved. Like he's like one of those he needs a rehab, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's like
Like Stuffy.
yeah, he likes up he needs a rehab. So I bought them the same tracker. Like
Mm.
now they have their own tracker.
Yeah.
They, like wanted mine so bad.
Oh. When Amber first arrives, Maddie wants to warn Neil, but Emma disagrees. Whose side are you on?
I think that I was on Emma's side because you always want what's like best for her. Like she wants what's best for her. And so like if you're gonna set her up for failure, that's not really nice to do. Like you
Yeah.
owe Neil anything. Like Neil, I mean, you're living in his house, but like it's still a temporary relationship. It's not like it's not like Amber wanted to go date Maddie's parents and like there was like, like Neil's just like a
Hmm.
rando guy. So like let
Yeah.
Amber make the decision for herself.
That's kind of what I felt too. I was like, why do you have any like sort of allegiance to Neil? Like
Yeah.
you are renting his house, but like as from what I remember, they pay to live there.
Yeah, it's like a business perspective.
That's like that's you don't need to like really they don't know him other than that. Like maybe if they had known him before. I
Yeah.
understand that like he's
He's
like the
their boss.
surgeon,
Oh, yeah. That's what's kind of,
but
but it's
yeah.
temporary. He's not their boss forever. They're gonna move on.
Yeah, and it seems like they're hired like through like the travel nursing like program. It doesn't seem like he like sought them out and hired them, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know a lot about like the travel nursing, but it seems like they're like a part of like a program. And
Doctors don't hire nurses anyway in any situation.
oh,
So like he is like their upper because he is a doctor and they're a nurse, but like he's not like their direct like report.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
he's not going to be the one that like fires them, I guess. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
so, when someone else would.
Yeah,
And
they
you can't fire
probably
someone for that.
no, and they probably only report to their like charge nurse, not like him in any capacity. They just have to like work with him basically.
Yeah, so I was definitely more so on Emma's side. Like
Yeah.
they'll figure things out like as they go. There's no
Maddie
need
is
to.
just like so protective of
Hmm.
and so I think that she just saw it as like Amber needs to get away. Like I don't want her anywhere near us. Like I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
she saw
true.
it as like a Neil thing. I think an aspect of it was like I don't want her close to us. I don't want her to be here.
And I know she did that as like a protective thing for Maddie because it's her best friend, but sometimes it like kind of angered me because she was like so mean about some of the things. It's like you can tell Emma still like really cared about her mom in the beginning, and Maddie would be like really mean to Emma. I
Yeah.
don't know. It kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, I see that. That's it's still her mom at the end of the day.
It's still
Like
her mom, and
it's her decision to make that relationship, whether how she wants it.
mhm. But then from like Maddie's perspective, she like sees her get hurt constantly, and like her parents ended up being like the foster parent for Emma. And so like I can see like where she like gets this like hard like protective space for Emma.
Yeah.
But sometimes it was kind of sad to see like how mean she could be about it. But
Yeah.
um Abby Jimenez is not only great at writing romance, but also supportive friendships. Discuss the ways that Justin's friends step up throughout this novel.
Yeah, I think that well, I mean he had an unsupportive friend who backstabbed him into his girlfriend, but she like did like
But he
fix
ended up being a good friend
yeah, he
aside
ended
from
up
that.
being a good friend. Yeah. And I think it's not only Justin's friends like coming and supporting him as he's taking over, like because his mom goes to jail and he's supporting three kids and they like redo his bedroom and they do the stuff. Um, but like his mom had that friend too, like it showed
Yeah.
like friendship with the mom, it showed Maddie and Emma. Like there's like everyone, like she shows friendship in like so many different ways and phases. And especially reading the first one through the third one, like each book has like a very solid component of friendship.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I liked it. It's not just like all like romantic relationships.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy like having other components and other like relationships to like build on.
Yeah. It's very rare that you see like male friendships in like the kind of books that we read, I guess. And most of the time the male friendships are kind of portrayed like what we read last month, Good Material.
Yeah.
The guys' friends are kind of like, oh buddy, it's okay. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry you broke up. Sorry, buddy. Like it was just very like surface level in
Yeah.
a way. And we never really get to see like a lot of male friendships in these books
Yeah.
that are like I feel like his friends were actually there for him like pretty emotionally. Like they like took
Yeah.
care of a lot of stuff. Like I might not even think like they thought ahead of time to be
Mhm.
like, we know this week that your mom goes to prison is going to be really hard on you. We're sending you away to the water park place
Mhm.
and we're going to redo your room and bathroom to make it more you. Like I don't know, they just like thought of things like that that were very kind.
Yeah. And that came too, part of that came from the second book. Benny, one of his best friends, had kidney failure in the second book, and he had
Hmm.
to fight with his mom. And so that was a component. He's like, I know what it felt like going back into my mom's house and how I felt. And so like
Yeah.
it's for you, which is like really sweet. And that was like another like overlap from the second book. But even in the second book, Benny wasn't like a main character, but there was
Mhm.
still like a very big like these three guys were still in that book too as like this solid friendship. And then they came
Yeah.
and put it more in this book. So I'm like, she shows those friendships when they're not even like on the in the spotlight, which is also
Yeah. No, I definitely like how she like writes about that. Were you rooting for Emma and Justin to end up together throughout the book? Was there any point when you changed your mind on this?
yeah, from the very first like interaction. I was rooting
I know
for them.
I picked this question, but I was kind of like,
There's like
were there
nothing.
people who were not rooting for them? Like that's who I want to hear from.
No, like there was no from either of them. There was like no like toxic red flags, like nothing. Like they were like meant
Mhm.
to be from the beginning.
Yeah, they were both like cute, enjoyable characters, like, but not like too in your face cute. Like
Yeah,
they were like, I don't know, they were really good. I like them.
yeah, for sure. And Maddie had her red flags, but it wasn't like her fault.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
yeah.
Maddie or Emma?
I mean Emma, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't her fault. And like she was working on them.
Yeah. And she
And
didn't want
she was
her.
aware. She was aware
Yeah.
of like her stuff. Like that's like the I feel like it can't really be labeled as like a red flag because she was like aware and like trying to work on things. And she was definitely trying to make like her problems not other people's problems. And that's why she was like so used to running away.
Yeah. They had very good communication on it all.
Hmm. Um, did the Neil storyline turn out the way you expected? If you had already read part of your world, what did you expect to happen to Neil? Which we kind of already touched on this, but just I guess kind of wrap up the questions.
Yeah. Neil, well, I like hated him. Like you're supposed to hate him from part of your world. Like he's like a dirtbag and he
So
like
it's
does.
like perfect that he got set up with Amber.
Yeah, I kind of felt that, but then like
That's your karma.
why was I feeling sorry for him?
Because like in that situation, like maybe he didn't deserve it, but like if
Yeah.
you knew the background about him, maybe he did. Like
Yeah.
maybe because he wasn't hurtful to Amber is
Yeah.
why you felt, but he was like hurtful to other people.
Yeah. And I feel like even though he was like a crappy guy to whatever her name was in the first book, he was like very good to the girls that lived on his island too. Like he was like
Mhm.
very like helpful and he like wanted like he was just like seemed like a great good guy at that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe he learned his lesson. So then it does kind of stink like if you learn your lesson and karma still bites you, that kind of stinks.
Ooh, that's a tough lesson.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your rating for this book?
Gave it a 5 stars.
I did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it was
It was a
really
really good book.
yeah.
I breezed right through.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so we are also going to announce what our June book will be. And it's going to be One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. It just came out like a few weeks ago at the end of May. We're excited. We've done a podcast for one of Ruth Ware's other books, The It Girl. So she's a second timer for
Yeah.
our podcast.
I will say I really love judging a book by its cover. I love like her style of the book covers. So they're not like really pretty or anything, but I like how you're like, it's her. Like it's like
Bold.
bold and like crazy colors always too, usually. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited too.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you for listening. Bye.